I saw a black and white on another cable network, a black and white video of 1939, and that this is what's happening right now in Madison Square Garden.
So this is the Wall Street Journal. They just have the big picture, but they say economists warn of potential for inflation following election. You can look at that one.
Sure.
This is the MAGA Square Garden.
MAGA Square Garden. That's
MAGA
the Post.
Square Garden.
That's a great one, actually.
That's the roof.
Fears over what follows Election Day. So we're into the fear
on
category.
both sides, yeah.
Washington Post.
You got the Daily News.
Interesting.
Has,
we haven't talked about the Washington Post, by the way, and everything that's going on over there.
Daily News has racist rally.
Racist rally.
So, time out. But before you go any further.
Well, you were there. Were you there for the whole time?
I was there the entire time. So, to the New York Daily News, is it a racist rally if you have a black man from Florida who's originally from New York speaking at the rally? I don't think so.
Byron Donalds is so used to being Donald Trump's black friend, he doesn't even know that telling everyone that he is doesn't erase his bigoted rally.
It was a great rally last night. Donald Trump obviously spoke. Did he say something that was off color? No, he did not. I spoke. Did I say something off color? No, I did not. Eric Trump, Laura Trump, Don Trump Jr., Elon Musk, Howard Lutnick. Did they say anything that was off color? No, they did not.
Distanced himself from the comedian who was there and the comments that he made.
I didn't agree with the comedian said. None of us did. When it came out, we were all like,
distanced himself.
Yeah, of course. We were all like, wait, what? Who? Did that get up? No. Nobody agreed with that. Nobody.
But it was
period. Full
people
stop.
say I saw.
But he's also a comedian. We didn't control what he said.
Okay, but so the Associated Press, Trump's Madison Square Garden event features crude and racist insults. That did happen. You may not have been the one making them, but that did happen.
And Becky just said it. The campaign has distanced themselves from it. They do not agree.
I understand.
I do not agree.
I have a question.
Unfortunately, it was said. But nobody agrees with that.
First of all, yes, Donald Trump did say things that were off color, which is another sanitized way of saying hateful and anti-American. He kept up his enemies within rhetoric, which promises to utilize the military to go after his political enemies. But Byron Donalds said they didn't. So, like children, he expects people to just believe him. Maybe he should answer for these off-color comments from people that weren't just making jokes.
Other speakers continued the attacks. Radio host Sid Rosenberg on Hillary Clinton.
What a sick son of a...
Many targeting Harris.
Her and her pimp handlers will destroy our country.
Trump friend David Rem calling her the devil.
She is the Antichrist.
Tucker Carlson also attacking the vice president, who is Indian American and black.
The first Samoan Malaysian low IQ former California prosecutor ever to be elected president.
As the speakers rallied the crowd.
It needs to be a landslide. We need to slaughter this other people.
Was Byron Donalds there for all those off-color remarks too? They really think that they can claim to not know that Tony Hinchcliffe would go off on bigoted tirades and it just be forgotten. They haven't forgotten that Hillary Clinton talked about baskets of deplorables 8 years ago. But this guy expects this to just be some guy that crashed their love fest with some unexpected racism.
We are talking about the comments of a comedian. And everybody's going to forget it in 48 hours. The real joke in America is the terrible policy of Kamala Harris.
Congressman, I can appreciate all of that, but it was the campaign that put this comedian on the stage instead of talking about the facts that you're talking about. And you can look at social media to find all of these criticisms of it, too.
No, so listen, I criticize it myself. Social media is going to do that because the Harris campaign is pushing that because they're looking for something to talk about. Because she has nothing to talk about. Because when she goes out and talks, she says absolutely nothing. You all know this. She's not answering the issues facing the American people. So she goes try to find a comedian's point at a rally.
This amateur attempt at sanitizing an absolutely hateful event is one that Trump's people in conservative media launch into as well.
It's amazing, the cover of the New York Times. Trump at Garden, a closing carnival of grievances, misogyny, and racism. Oh, only somebody who worked for the Harris campaign and pretending to be a reporter for the New York Times would write something like that if you watched that 3 hours or 4 hours. You had to flip around to get it. We didn't take all of it live. But did you also, you don't point out that RFK, the most famous Democratic family, actually was one of the featured speakers around the most famous inventor in the world, Elon Musk. That stands out. No, a comedian with a successful podcast said some off color.
But you lose goodwill when before the rally even started, they called it a Nazi rally. Before they even took the stage, they had already said that it was going to be a racist rally. Number two, maybe it's just me, Ainsley. I have a dark sense of humor. You know, and so maybe this was not the appropriate format for the comedian to be there, but it's comedy.
You know, it might be best for the folks on Fox and Friends to just avoid defending this. If their conclusion is it's just comedy and only someone that works for the Harris campaign would write that in the New York Times. All this while Brian Kilmeade carries water for the Trump campaign every day. It's a constant effort to normalize right-wing hate as policy and the rest of America's outrage and rejection of it as hate. So to them, revealing it is worse than spewing it.
Look, it was a comedian who made a joke in poor taste. Obviously, that joke does not reflect the views of President Trump or our campaign. And I think it is sad that the media will pick up on one joke that was made by a comedian rather than the truths that were shared by the phenomenal list of speakers that we had. We had congressmen and women. We had Senator J.D. Vance. We had Dana White, friends of the president. Dan Scavino, my colleague and friend, who shared very intimate moments with President Trump when they were in the hospital in Butler, Pennsylvania, really showing the truth about President Trump and his heart of gold. And the crowd, they didn't mind, right? Again, it was a diverse group of people. The joke fell flat, but the crowd was there because they know who President Trump is, and they know he wants to be a president for all Americans.
Yo, why is it obvious that the jokes don't reflect the campaign? How does him joking about Latinos not pulling out not relate to Trump's drumbeat of claiming that they're coming to replace white people? She can't really think that anyone paying attention thinks that he made one racist joke when he went on a tirade of hostility that the crowd, quote, didn't mind. She must have forgotten that the crowds at Nazi rallies didn't mind it, and neither did the crowds at slave auctions or lynchings. You know, these bullshit deflections suck. And the main thing these apologists won't even bring up is the number of Republicans that finally came forward, now that their very specific community was attacked by their messiah. Representative Maria Elvira Salazar, disgusted by Tony Hinchcliffe's racist comment calling Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. This rhetoric does not reflect GOP values. Puerto Rico sent 48,000 plus soldiers to Vietnam with over 345 Purple Hearts awarded. This bravery deserves respect. Educate yourself. Representative Carlos Jimenez. This is not a joke. It's completely classist and in poor taste. Puerto Rico is the crown jewel of the Caribbean and home to many of the most patriotic Americans I know. Tony Hinchcliffe clearly isn't funny and definitely doesn't reflect my values or those of the Republican Party. Representative Anthony Esposito. I'm proud to be Puerto Rican. My mom was born and raised in Puerto Rico. It's a beautiful island with a rich culture and an integral part of the USA. The only thing that's garbage was a bad comedy set. Stay on message. Geraldo Rivera. A floating island of garbage? Referring to Puerto Rico? Poisoning the blood of our nation? We have murder in our genes? These racists. Latino men of goodwill, have pride in yourselves and your ancestors. A vote for Trump is a vote against self-respect. And all these folks, except Geraldo, will probably still vote for the ticket that just promoted all the things that they're incensed about. So why come forward with pushback while still refusing to tell the country to reject it on Election Day? They seem to be okay with the hateful rhetoric as long as it's not openly broadcast for everyone to unequivocally see. You know, that same spokesperson, Caroline Leavitt, on Fox and Friends, had the nerve to demand an apology from Harris's running mate, Tim Walz, for calling out the party's commitment to hate after he accurately predicted what the rally would turn out to be.
Donald Trump's got this big rally going at Madison Square Garden. There's a direct parallel to a big rally that happened in the mid-1930s at Madison Square Garden. And don't think that he doesn't know for 1 second exactly what they're doing there. So look, we said we're all running like everything's on the line because it is. It is. There's going to be a time, I keep talking about this, and there's some young folks here too, but there's going to be a time we're sitting on the porch in that rocking chair, and there's going to be some little ones around us, and they're going to say, what were you all doing back in 2024 when you stopped Donald Trump? And your answer is going to be every damn thing we could.